Hello, everybody. I hope you are fine. I hope you are doing well. My name is Abdelwahid Urgut, a middle school teacher of English in the region of Tinghir Directorate. And I have been teaching since 2008. It's almost and over 12 years experience right now. And I actually, taught in different schools, and at the beginning, I started teaching, right, dealing with different levels and different classes. The second year baccalaureate, the first year baccalaureate too, and the Common Core. And recently, I have been more concerned with the third grade student and the Common Core student. I could say that I'm specialized in teaching the third grade students, and as well as the Common Core. As for the second year and the first year baccalaureate students, I usually deal with them beyond the classroom, right, outside, during the curricular activities and para activities and all that stuff. Okay. So this series of videos actually is meant to share some, what I consider to be successful practical tips related to lesson planning and management and all that stuff, especially that I have received a lot of inquiries, a lot of questions on how to start a certain lesson, or how to plan a certain lesson, and how to execute, how to deal, So I received a lot of inquiries by so many teachers, especially the novice teachers who are embarking on this profession for the first time. So let's get started with this first video, and I'm going to share some of the very important points I dealt with as far as the first session in your teaching career with your students. So in the first session, of course, we usually get to know our students first, okay? So you try to check for the absenteeism, try to know your students, introduce yourself first in terms of your profession, and the year started maybe working as a teacher, and try to establish a good rapport, positive rapport with your students, a friendly rapport at the very beginning, okay? So that students feel so excited and so, so open to learn and benefit and get motivated to benefit from your enthusiasm and your motivation. That's what you have to show at the very beginning in your first session. You've got to show your love to your subjects, your love to English, and your love to your profession and teaching and learning. So these are some of the good things you got to do in order to transfer those positive feelings and positive thoughts to your students and get them excited and motivated to start learning English. Okay, so that's one very important point. Later on, of course, it's very important to again boost students' motivation about learning English by sensitize them of the importance of learning English today, and how is it important at the global arena, right? That's very important, I think. Okay, and later on, of course, it's very important to share with your students your philosophy of teaching. What are your principles as far as teaching is concerned? How do you personally perceive teaching and learning? And it's some sort of discipline that you want, that you like to establish with your students, so that students, become clear as far as that point is concerned, and are aware of what they generally need to respect as classroom rules, or as classroom discipline or philosophy as far as learning are concerned. As for me, actually, when I started teaching, In 2008, I jotted down 4 words. I thought carefully with a lot of meditation and so on, and then I decided to to abide by 4 principles. And those principles actually were meant to me, right? It was not that I didn't devise them for my students, but I addressed them to myself in order for me to succeed professionally. I have jotted down those 4 principles. The first principle was respect. I decided to respect my student, to respect everyone, right? For me to respect myself and my job in order to succeed, right, in my career. And after respect, we got punctuality, right? Never be absent, right, or come late without any reason, right? Any legal pretext. And again, after punctuality, organization is very important. I should be well organized in terms of my own document, in terms of my own plans, what I plan to teach, my pedagogical documents, and so on. And the last principle is participation, to take part in every pedagogical activity, any meeting, any kind of professional continuous development, any meeting, any training, something that will help me develop professionally. And actually, later on, I thought and I asked myself, why not share in those principles with my students? Because as far as the scoring system or the assessment, guidelines are concerned, there is one part in which the teacher, assess his students apart or beyond those quizzes and the tests that on the documents, official tests and quizzes that the students take, which has to do with those integrated activities and so on and all that stuff. Okay, so for me, those integrated activities or the mark in general that we assign to students as far as that point is concerned, for me, right, it's based on this 4 principles: how respectful the student is, how punctual student is, and how organized he is, and how participatory or participative the student is, right? So these are some of the very important points I shared with my students as a philosophy of work and for them to be successful students. The next point has to do, of course, with the learning materials that students need to bring. It's very common, right? Copybook, right, and so on, textbook and all that stuff, right? And of course, extra learning materials that can be a learning portfolio, okay? Any kind of gadgets, any kind of extra materials that can be used by and benefit, used by the learner and benefit from it is also advisable, okay? But of course, there are some that are optional and some that are obligatory and mandatory, okay? And then again, students should be informed about the scoring system, how they are expected to be assessed, okay? Those quizzes and the global assessment or in integrated activity or anything like that, right? Students should have an idea, a clear idea about what they expect to take as quizzes or abide by as rules and so on. Next is sometimes I assign students a questionnaire, right? In order to a questionnaire that consists of different questions and some information to provide and so on as far as their own, especially learning profiles, what they like, what they don't like, the way they like to learn and so on, so that you can have an idea about your class, your students, what kind of learning profile they are and so on, what kind of profile, learning style they prefer and so on. It's going to be a good idea to have some ideas about that, right? And why not even about their social circumstances, okay? It's sometimes it's very important to know your students as far as these points are concerned. And the next point is especially during this period or circumstances of COVID-19, it's very important to sensitize students of the health conditions that we are enduring, and some of the health protocols they have to abide by. And in addition to the remote learning, the remote learning and what the ministry says, of education says about that, right? And you've got to decide with your students about the remote learning tools that you are going to use for, successful distance learning, right? And as for me, and right, I have, and according, of course, to my geographical situation here and my students, it's okay for me right here to adopt to WhatsApp group, right, for my students, a second number. I recommend a second number and not your personal number. And I recommend also to sensitize and make it clear for students that there are certain rules that they have to respect as far as the use and administration of that WhatsApp group, right? In addition, of course, to the Teams group, in addition to YouTube, any kind of extra learning tools that will make students, that will help students learn remotely and successfully, okay? So these are some of the very important points I raised with my students during the first session. Meet you and see you, inshallah, during the next video, and see our first session with our English learners, okay? If you have any idea or anything to add that you think it's very important at the very beginning of the learning career of our students and your teaching career as a new teacher, please don't hesitate to share it below, okay? Your ideas and your suggestions and opinions are welcome. Thank you very much, and see you next time.